Hello, Earth. I know, we haven't talked in a while. Because seriously, who gives a shit what I have to say? But, oh my God, court is so exciting this week. So this guy is defending himself, which is always, well, I used to think kind of a stupid choice. But in this case, it's a very, very brave choice. And it is some of the most amazing courtroom activity I have ever seen. Yesterday, this judge did not play fair with him at all. So he's been defending himself after getting bailed out on $2 million bond. I guess 4 years ago, about in Florida. Of course it's Florida, in the Keys. He's hanging out at what the prosecutor called a flop house, and he's like, that's an offensive term. The guy defending himself said that. I was like, I love this. So, you know, the cost of living is outrageous. And he even says, like, the landlord may not have made the most ethical decisions, or done it the right way or whatever, but he offered a place for people to stay for $350 a month, which is, you know, affordable. But of course, there's going to be people who are just hard on their luck at the time. He's drunk because it's like Fun Fest or something crazy. And we're talking like Florida Fun Fest. Yeah, they're going to be nuts. So he's drinking Fireball and somebody got stabbed and he ends up getting arrested. His bail was $2 million. I lament not catching the first week of this trial. But I was like, after Darrell Brooks, Darrell Brooks, the bastard in Wisconsin who was so awful that heaven created a whole wing just for that judge that put up with his shit. I was like, I can't watch a guy defend himself again. And I shouldn't have made that assumption because this man is awesome. He's absolutely polite and brilliant and just doing it so well. And yesterday, the judge was not playing fair. Like, for one thing, he's having a hard time getting his witnesses because a lot of his witnesses are in lockup because he was living in a building where you can have rent for a month for $350. And so these other people are apparently in jail and he can't get them to the courthouse on time. And the judge lost his shit on him. And he's just like, that's it. Your side of the case is over. And today he testified for himself. So the first thing the judge did today was like, I know I said the defense side was done, but we're not quite done. We're going to do one more thing. And his tone is completely different. He's a different guy today. RA is like the best channel. I'm really, really enjoying Recovery Addict. It's just, he's in the moment. He's feeling it. He's there. I'm there. We're there. We live there. It is great. So this guy gets on the stand and he's a little bit meandering, but he is objecting to the prosecution's questions and getting sustained. And like, he's just doing such a good job defending himself. They don't have shit. They don't have shit on this guy. And he should not go to jail for the rest of his life. Now, I came in when he's like, I'm going to report you, judge. And as far as I can tell, once I file this, that there's no point. We're frozen until they decide if you're the right man to be judge on this because you're not playing fair. And yesterday he was just like, yeah, that's fine with me. And today he's like, hey, jury, we're doing everything different. And now he's going to testify. And he's intelligent. He's collected. What I can't believe, though, is he did not intend to testify. Every other witness is prepped by lawyers. And if you're defending yourself and you plan on getting them on the stand, you have so much time to prepare for that. And this man is fighting for his life, and he's like doing it in the moment, and he gets on the stand. And you know what is gonna seal it is the prosecutor was off the chain rude to him. Like, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get him to have an outburst. He's doing Darvo tactics. He's cutting him off. He's not letting him finish his story. The judge kept on having to say, you didn't let him finish his question. It is so good. It is so good. I'm going to make a playlist and watch from the beginning because this is absolutely fascinating. And I have never wanted a man to be found not guilty so much in my life because He's been through hell, and he's fighting for himself, and he's doing a wonderful job, and I just highly recommend you check it out. They're calling it the Treehouse trial because the place that all of this was centered around is called the Treehouse, where you can live for $350 a month because the price of existence is insane right now, no matter where you are, especially here in Denver. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that because it's so exciting. I'm just itching to talk about it with somebody, and you're here, so I appreciate you for that. I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. We haven't talked in a while. I've been blessedly very, very busy. I'm finding a little bit of a crud. But it's, a decent year so far. I'm looking forward to my birthday next week. It's my birthday. And so in case you don't know, I have multiple sclerosis, and I got on a medicine 3 years ago. And it wasn't the type of medicine I would normally take, but it's an infusion I get every 6 months, and it's working very, very well. And I was talking to my new neurologist the other day, and she said, well, as you age, the immune system slows down, so we might titrate you off of this medicine. Instead of getting it every 6 months, you might get it every 8 or 9, and then once a year, because we're finding that older people don't need this medicine as much because the immune system calms down. And I was like, I've never been so excited to be in my 40s. Yay, I'm getting older. Like, what good news. I never thought about it. So the problem with MS is that the immune system is very, very confused, and it's overactive, and it seems to think that my nervous system is the enemy. And so that's why it's weird and painful, and it goes up and down. And like, pregnancy is great for people with MS because, well, we don't know why. They were testing like hormone therapies. Like, could it be the extra hormones? Could it be that there's a second life in the body, and the immune system's like, hey, now we have two things to think about. Because one immune system theory was, hey, we used to have a lot of parasites, and maybe because we are so clean now and we don't have parasites, perhaps autoimmune conditions is nature's way of making up for that, only it's very bad, obviously. But like, he was treating, I don't know if it was arthritis or lupus, but he was giving himself parasites on purpose to fight his autoimmune condition. Made sense to me. Same thing with bee sting therapy. One of the reasons I went into herbal medicine is because I was very curious about multiple sclerosis. Like, I really loved Richard Pryor, and I was really, really sad at how sick he was, and Terry Garr, and autoimmune conditions are weird. I went into herbal medicine to learn more about autoimmune conditions. And then 10 years after I got my certification in herbal medicine, I came down with not just a autoimmune condition, but the autoimmune condition that I wrote my thesis about. Isn't the universe interesting? So, and one of the things that I found interesting was that people were using bee sting therapy for multiple sclerosis, specifically getting stung on purpose because it gave the immune system the venom to work on instead of you. I was like, that totally makes sense. I don't know why it never caught on. Yeah, I do. It's very painful. And then all the bees started dying. The world is sad. It's a sad place. At any rate. So yay, I'm turning 45. Hurrah! Isn't that great? But apparently maybe my MS might get a little bit easier as I get older. This stress isn't helping. So I have that to look forward to. Aging is not all bad, right? The other thing I embraced recently, besides having a beautiful cane collection, do you see my beautiful... I'm embracing my inner King Tut. If I have to use one, I might as well lean into it because I've got drop foot. And then I was looking for concert tickets, and I was like, oh, I wonder if handicap is available. And not only was it available, but it was cheaper, and it was front fucking row. And I'm never not doing that again. So I got front row to Mulaney, and I got to talk to him, and it was really, really fun. It was at Red Rocks. It was like one of the best concerts experiences of my life. And I couldn't get in, and I found out it's because that was the second show of the day, and I didn't know that. And Dave goddamn Chappelle opened for him on the first one. So the only thing I missed was Dave, but I've seen him before. I've actually met him. Anyway, I won't bore you. Yes, I'm name dropping. I don't give a shit. And so then I'm like, oh, I'm always going handicap for tickets forever. And not only do I get front row, but they're cheaper. It's just like, I've never been so thankful to have a disability. Hooray. And then I used handicap seating to take my daughter to see Mateo Lane, her first comedy show. And I was like, I'm sorry, I could only get second row. I'm sorry. And then it turned out to be front row. It was so good. It was so good. So much fun. And it was at the Paramount Theater in downtown Denver. Now, I've gone to dozens of shows there. In fact, like my first 3 comedy shows I ever went to, George Carlin was there. Gallagher was there. I've seen Stephen Wright there like 3 times. I've been there a lot is my point, and I've never seen a line that went around not just the building all the way to the next block, up that block, all the way back to where the Paramount Cafe used to be. I should have just gone the other way, up the opposite direction of where the line was headed, because there were so many people in line for this show, and it made me so freaking happy for Mateo Lane. Because Mateo Lane's like a self-made comedian. He has a beautiful voice. He studied music, he studied art, and he decides, screw it, I'm moving to New York and I'm doing comedy. And he's so funny. But finding an agent and doing headshots and auditions, and it's a really tough life. And I don't know, I think the story is that somebody says you cannot wait for Comedy Central to give you a special. And he's like, okay, then I'm gonna go on YouTube. And he got 1 million subs in like a year. And he's absolutely hysterical. He's one of the best comedians I have ever seen, and I have seen everyone. So it was such a good show. And one thing I learned when I used to watch George Carlin a lot is I'd be excited to see George, and I'd listen to a lot of his stuff, and then the show wouldn't be as good because I'd be familiar with most of the material. So if you deprive yourself of the material for a few weeks before the show, even if you know it, it's still funny. Because George was incredibly calculated that way. He planned every nanosecond of his material. It was wonderful. I saw him 11 times, and I only saw him improvise twice. And Chris Rock's like that too, which is one of the reasons Chris Rock is one of the best comedians in history. He's the best living comedian. I'm not hearing it. He's the best. He's just the best. Stephen Wright's up there too. And Louis Black has a place in my heart as well. There's a lot of really good ones, but Chris Rock right now is the king now that George is gone. Where the fuck was I going with this? Mateo Lane, front row. It was fucking awesome. Hey, hooray for handicapness. What I like when you go to Red Rocks and you're like, hey, I need handicap seating. They don't just look at the plate. They don't just let you hang the thing on the window. They want to look at the registration on your car. And I like that a lot because when I was 18, I wouldn't be above going, hey, Nana, can I borrow your tag for parking at the concerts? And going to fish shows at Dick's is the best, but holy hell, the parking is rough. Red Rocks is really rough too. You literally have to climb a mountain to get there. But if you got handicap seating, they treat you really nice. If you're in the south parking lot, they take you on a bus right backstage, and then they put your phone in a book. You have to hide your phone if it's a comedy show, which this should be the rule for all comedy shows. In fact, Dave Chappelle walked off the stage yesterday because he has a rule of they put your phone in a magnetic pouch and you can't record it and you can't look at your watch and all this shit, and it's fine. And then you are actually connected with the comedian instead of like tweeting about the comedian or live streaming something about the comedian and stealing his material, and they can try new material without it leaking basically. And of course people are assholes and they disrespected a minor request, and he saw that people were recording and he walked off the stage. And I don't know how people feel about it, but I say more power to you, and fuck that guy, and super fuck the guy who was filming the guy who was filming him. There were 2 of them. People suck. It's the point of my story. People suck, except for the guy in Florida is defending himself of murder. I really, really, really want him to be acquitted. I hope he is. So you should watch with me. We should hang out and watch this together. Let me know what you think. Good to see you.